When the Knights of the Fallen Empire expansion dropped and our characters were trapped in Carbonite for 5 in-game years, the companions we'd been playing the game with were taken away. But BioWare assured everyone they'd come back in cool, meaningful ways. And some did. But when the studio made the hard pivot away from the story-heavy content of the Knights of expansions, the rest of those promised companion returns were scrapped. From now on, missing companions would return through Alliance alerts. Now, years later, most of us probably have a companion menu clogged with these short optional quests to recruit not only our original companions, but those from other classes too. Now, some alerts are great, allowing us to do things we've wanted to do for years.
Better hope
But today we're talking about the ones that are very much not great. Whether they're too short, make us do things we hate, or just don't make any sense, these are 5 Alliance alerts we'd happily never do again. Unhappy returns, Corso and Risha. Now this one's on the list for being both annoying and ridiculous. This smuggler exclusive alert starts with you receiving a message ostensibly from Skavik, the guy who stole your ship way back at the beginning of the game, the same guy you tossed into a black hole. But if SWTOR's taught us anything, it's that if you don't have a body, you can never really be sure. Intrigued, you set off to Ashara to see what's what, where you are greeted with the most beloved of SWTOR quests, the scavenger hunt. You travel around Ashara, finding clickies until you end up at Club Vertica. When you arrive, who should be waiting but your old buddies, Corso and Risha. They used the fake name and sent you all over the planet because they thought it would be funny, and they needed to make sure it was you, because they're on the run and have to be careful, you see. Naturally, you ask why they didn't just come to you if they needed help. You are one of the most powerful and most famous people in the galaxy at this point, after all. The reply is idiotic and what landed them on this list. They say they weren't sure it was really you on all those galactic holo broadcasts. That's right. Their excuse for not sending you so much as an email is that they were afraid that whole Alliance Commander deal was all an elaborate galaxy-spanning conspiracy orchestrated by Risha's enemies to trick her and Corso into coming out of hiding. Seriously, guys, that's what you're going with? I mean, if you didn't want to come back, just say so. Unless your smuggler was married to one of them. In that case, what the heck? A Padawan no longer, Ashara Zavros. Okay, full disclosure, I don't like Ashara. In fact, I really don't like Ashara. But that's not why she's on this list. I mean, it kind of is. But, well, let me explain. Like Corso and Risha, Ashara returns long after the Knights of storylines are over. Unlike Corso and Risha, she has a pretty good reason for staying out of contact all these years. She didn't want to come back. She was afraid she'd fall back into old habits, and she didn't want that. We can't fault her for that, but it's what comes next that earns her a spot on this list. She says that now she sees the Inquisitor, she realizes that she is stronger. Strong enough, in fact, to come back not as an apprentice, but as your equal. Now, of course, it's perfectly fine for Ashara to say that, and of course not everyone is going to have a problem with it. In that case, you just welcome her back, and all's well that ends well. The problem comes in if your Inquisitor doesn't happen to agree with her, and is maybe inclined to teach her that she is, in fact, not their equal. Because while you can destroy a world-eating eldritch abomination and his brats several times over, you can't shock one lousy, whiny, wannabe Jedi into submission. Sure, you can try. You can pick the option to shock her, but she'll just toss up her lightsaber, block the Inquisitor's lightning without breaking a sweat, and waltz out of the room. Our characters just stare after her as she goes, not lifting a finger to stop her. A dark side Inquisitor who picks that response isn't going to just let her walk away like that. But you're not allowed to do anything else. The cutscene ends, and our Inquisitors are left looking pathetic and weak. And it's irritating. The Forgotten Trophy, Major Pierce, and the booming Vocorder of Freedom, M14X. I've combined them here because these are essentially the same alerts, just on opposite factions. And I'm sure everyone could guess that they were going to make this list. Pierce and 4X were among the first wave of Alliance alerts, meaning they are available to everyone, not just warriors and troopers. Republic players can get 4X, Imperial players can get Pierce. These early alerts were also designed to keep players busy between the monthly chapter releases. What this usually means is doing some grindy busy work to get the companion's approval rating to 10 before they'll join you. If you're a warrior or a trooper and you've already done that before starting the Knights of expansions, it's all good. You meet them, you ask them to join you, they agree, and bam, your companion's back. But if you fail to do that, or if you want them on another class, well, you're going to have to rank them up now by doing PvP. That's right, you have to slog through however many war zones it takes to get their approval to 10. This can be as many as 20 matches depending on how many you're able to win. At least wins aren't required, they just count double. I did it once, I won't do it again. Now I only pick these two up if I'm playing a warrior or a trooper. A kindly old monster, Dr. Logan. Another one that's likely not a surprise to anyone. Dr. Logan is another early returner, so he's available to everyone, not just agents, but you'll have to get his approval up to 10 first. To do this, you'll need to gather some specific crafting materials and give them to him. And by some, I mean a lot. If you have a bunch of Java scrap lying around or a sizable stash of credits, and many of us do these days, this part isn't too bad. If you don't, it can be a long and tedious process. But that's only part of the reason he's on this list. You see, getting his approval to 10 is just the start, and even agents can't skip this next step. To get him to join you, you have to go into the Rakghoul tunnels and collect samples for him. Tunnels that you can only get to during the Rakghoul Resurgence event, which only comes around every couple of months or so. And with all the companions we have these days, it's just not worth the hassle. To find a Finesman Young. This was the very first Alliance alert. It introduces the concept of Alliance alerts, shows you how to use the context menu to get around, and it sets up the premise of you needing to go out and recruit all these people to build your alliance. This quest is just generally annoying. It forces you to use the galaxy map from your ship to travel to Zakul instead of just letting you travel from Ogrub's lab. Then when you find the Finesman Young from the Trooper class story, he asks you to run around Zakul picking up junk for him. He won't join you unless you do. And while that's bad, the thing that really makes this quest annoying, and the thing that puts it on this list, is that you always have to do it on every character that goes through the Knights of expansions, because most other Alliance alerts are locked behind it. So if you don't do it, you can't get your companions back. Which maybe isn't a big deal if you only have a few characters. But if you're like me and you have a lot, it gets to be a chore. And there you have it. That's my list of the worst Alliance alerts in SWTOR. What do you think? Are there others that should be on this list? Let me know in the comments below, and like and subscribe for more videos like this one. And as always, thanks for watching.